President Trump is lashing out against his former attorney after a secret recording of their conversations was made public. Michael Cohen released the audio to CNN through his lawyer. In the tape, President Trump and Cohen are heard discussing payments related to an alleged affair with a former Playboy model. The conversation took place weeks before the 2016 election. Mr. Trump says he did not know he was being taped. On Wednesday, the president responded on Twitter saying in part, quote, "What kind of lawyer would tape a client? So sad." CBS News Washington correspondent Paula Reid has the latest.
Surrounded by reporters in the Oval Office today, President Trump refused to talk about his taped conversation with former attorney Michael Cohen.
Did Michael Cohen betray you?
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Mr. President, are you worried about what Michael Cohen is going to say to prosecutors? Are you worried about what is on the other tapes, Mr. President?
The recording was made 2 months before the 2016 election. The two men are heard talking about a payment to effectively silence former Playboy model Karen McDougal, who claims she had an affair with President Trump.
And I've spoken to Alan Weisselberg about how to set the whole thing up with
so what are we going to pay?
Funding. Yes. And it's all the stuff, because you never know where that company, you never know where he's going to be.
Gets hit by it.
Correct. So I'm all over that. And I spoke to Alan about it when it comes time for the financing, which will be.
Listen, what financing?
We'll have to pay you. So
I'll pay the cash.
No. I got no.
The audio abruptly ends after nearly 3 minutes. It's one of 12 seized by the FBI during raids on Cohen's home and office. The tape was released by Cohen's new attorney, Democrat Lanny Davis, who defended former President Bill Clinton during his impeachment. And it was leaked to CNN, a frequent target of the president's ire. Today, the president tweeted, "What kind of lawyer would tape a client? So sad." For both the president and Cohen, the conversation could signal a campaign finance violation. Cohen once said he would take a bullet for Mr. Trump, but releasing the secret recording is the latest signal that Cohen is working to distance himself from the president.
Joining me now is CBS News Washington correspondent Paula Reid. Paula, there is a crucial part of the audio that is muddled. There's controversy over whether President Trump told Cohen to pay with cash or to pay with check. Why is this distinction important?
Well, the lawyers are certainly honing in on this. Now, any suggestion about the payment that was made to Karen McDougal for her story about an alleged affair with the president, any suggestion that payments around that agreement should be made in cash, of course, suggests that people are trying to perhaps cover something up, which is why the president's attorneys are trying to say, no, he wanted to pay with a check. But Lanny Davis, on behalf of Michael Cohen, they're trying to argue, no. He was actually saying we want to pay with cash. But ultimately, there is no transaction that is recorded in this conversation. So the whole cash v. check thing, it basically becomes a semantic argument. You listen to this and it's really hard to find any concrete evidence of a crime, but it could be a piece of a larger puzzle trying to answer these questions about possible campaign finance violations. Because if Michael Cohen, if the president, then candidate, were trying to pay women to stay silent about their alleged affairs with the president in order to help him at the polls, in order to influence the election, and they didn't disclose that, that could potentially be a campaign finance violation.
Paula, Michael Cohen's lawyer, Lanny Davis, said that Cohen is in part, quote, on a new path. It's a reset button to tell the truth and let the chips fall where they may. What's the strategy behind that?
Well, it appears that he is trying to publicly distance himself from the president. This is a man who said he would take a bullet for Donald Trump. He's been his longtime loyal fixer. But now over the past few weeks, we've seen him make public statements and take public action that certainly suggests he is trying to distance himself from the president, including releasing this secret recording. He said publicly he's going to put himself and his family, and he also said his country, ahead of his loyalty to the president. And that should set off some alarm bells at the White House. All of these signals suggest that he is increasingly likely to potentially cooperate with the government if he is criminally charged in his own investigation in exchange for leniency if he's charged.
Paula, do we know why Cohen chose to release the tape to CNN? If you look at this, going back, this is famously one of President Trump's least favorite outlets.
That's right. Among those signals that he is sending, he has hired Lanny Davis, who, of course, defended former President Clinton during his impeachment proceedings. And then, of course, he leaked the tape to CNN, which is a constant target of criticism by the president. A lot of signals that should concern the president. I asked some of the people on Cohen's team earlier today about why CNN, and they wouldn't give me a straight answer. But it is to be noted that they released this to CNN and only CNN when there are circumstances, I know we've seen this, where you give something to one outlet and then you share it with all of them. But, all of us are running CNN all day long because that's the only place that has this audio.
Interesting little tidbit there. Now that the audio has been released, where do federal prosecutors go from here?
Well, as I mentioned, Cohen is under federal criminal investigation in New York for his various business practices. And right now, the two sides in that case, they're looking over all the information that was seized in raids on his home and office, trying to determine what, if anything, is protected or privileged or part of his work as an attorney. And then they'll continue to investigate whether or not he can be charged with various bank or campaign-related violations. And I've talked to people close to him. He does expect to likely be charged with some sort of business crimes, but they're going to wait and see what specifically he is charged with before he makes a decision about whether or not he does want to cooperate against the president in the Russia investigation or against anyone else he may have information on in exchange for leniency in his own case.
All right, Paula Reid, always great to see you. Thank you.
Likewise.